The first time I watched my boyfriend's mother stare at an empty dining table, I finally understood what silence can do to a bully. No yelling, no crying. Just one calm sentence that made every little favor they demanded collapse at once. The smell of burnt toast was still in my hair when this started, like my body knew the day was going to fight me. The kitchen was warm, the sink was full, and my lower back throbbed with that deep, pulsing ache that doesn't just hurt, it warns you. My name is Waverly. I'm 28. I do freelance graphic design from home between school drop-offs, snack negotiations, and keeping 3 kids under 6 alive and mostly happy. My boyfriend works nights. He's 31, and we've been together for so long that people say you're husband by accident. Most days, I don't correct them. It's easier. It's always easier. Except nothing felt easy lately. We'd bought a new mattress, the kind that looks fancy in photos and feels like a trampoline in real life. The first night I slept on it, I swear I bounced every time I shifted my pillow to the cool side. The springs pressed into my hips like little knuckles. If I stayed still too long, it felt like bruises were blooming under my skin. He loved it. Of course he did. He'd come home from work, fall into it, and pass out like the mattress was hugging him. I asked for a topper, not a whole new bed, just something soft enough to stop the springs from chewing through my spine. He said we didn't need it, and because I'm a stay-at-home mom, the money conversation always ended the same way. Me checking in before I bought anything, him acting like I was asking permission, both of us pretending that dynamic wasn't quietly poisoning the room. So when he took night shifts, I slept on the couch. I told myself it was temporary. I told myself it was fine. Then I wrecked my back. It happened on a night when the youngest had a fever and cried until sunrise, and I finally got him down on my chest like a warm loaf of bread. I tried to stand up without waking him. One wrong twist, one tiny movement, and something in my lower back snapped tight, like a rubber band pulled too far. I didn't scream. I just stood there, breathing through it, staring at the dark window like it had answers. By morning, I was slow. Not lazy, not dramatic. Slow in the way an injured animal is slow. Careful, measuring every step, trying not to show fear. Still, I got things done. I sat to wash dishes. I took breaks on the floor while my toddler stacked blocks on my thigh. I folded laundry in stages, like I was climbing a mountain one shirt at a time. I even made dinner, because the kids still had to eat, and I still had to function. But my boyfriend looked at me like my pain was inconvenient background noise. That afternoon, he came into the kitchen while I was leaning against the counter, waiting for the throbbing to settle down. "What are we doing for dinner?" he asked. It wasn't concern. It was expectation. I blinked at him. "I'm doing what I can." He sighed, the kind of sigh that lands like a slap without leaving a mark. "You've been on the couch again, haven't you?" "I told you the bed hurts," I said softly. "I'm not doing this to be difficult." He glanced at the kids, then lowered his voice like I was the one embarrassing him. "We can't afford to baby every little discomfort, Waverly. Every little discomfort." My spine felt like it was on fire, and he called it discomfort. Before I could answer, my phone buzzed. A group chat. His family. His mom had started it the week before, like it was normal. Like I'd always been part of their little planning committees, their farm emergencies, their we need help announcements. Family dinner Sunday. Everyone brings something. "Waverly, you'll host since you're home anyway." I stared at the message until the words blurred. Host, bring something since you're home anyway. As if home meant available. As if being home meant my time was free to be claimed. My boyfriend watched my face. "What is it?" "Your mom wants a big dinner again," I said. "At our place." He shrugged. "It's just dinner. They're family." Something hot and bitter rose in my throat. I could handle a lot. I could handle his cheap gadgets that broke in a week and then mysteriously reappeared as newer cheap gadgets, like our house was becoming a graveyard of broken plastic. I could handle his cousin who always forgot her wallet and laughed it off. I could handle his sister posting inspirational quotes online while never showing up when we needed childcare. But I couldn't handle being treated like a service. Not with my back screaming. Not with my kids watching. His phone chimed. He glanced down, then looked away too fast. The smallest movement, but I caught it because I've learned to notice the tiny shifts. The little tells. The moments people think you won't see. "What?" I asked. "Nothing," he said quickly. He turned the screen toward himself like he was shielding it from the light. My stomach tightened. "Who's texting you?" He didn't answer at first. Then he said, "Just a coworker." "Which coworker?" "Why does it matter?" His tone sharpened, defensive. That was new. I didn't push, not because I didn't care, but because I'd learned something over the years. When someone wants you to chase them for truth, they'll make you beg for crumbs. It's like that dumb dating advice I'd heard women give each other. Act uninterested, ghost people you like, make them fight for you. The only men who fight for someone who's running away are the ones who enjoy the chase more than the person. I wasn't chasing anyone in my own house. Instead, I looked down at the counter where the mail had piled up. Bills, school flyers, a letter from the landlord about inspection dates, a flyer for a community event fundraiser I'd designed for free, because people always assumed graphic design from home was a hobby, not work. And there was another envelope too, one his mother had handed me the last time she visited, a printed estimate for clearing land on the family farm. They wanted us to move there, not just visit, move. His mom's health was getting worse, they said. Dementia, they whispered, like it was a weapon that made everything else irrelevant. His dad needed help with chores. The farm needed hands. The family needed us. And when I said gently that I didn't think moving to a rural farm with no support system while juggling postpartum depression and a house that was already drowning in clutter sounded like healing, they acted like I'd insulted their religion. "You don't work anyway," his mom had said once, smiling sweetly. "You'll have plenty of time." That smile had haunted me for days. Because I did work, I worked constantly. I just didn't get paid in a way anyone respected. That night, after the kids were asleep, I tried the mattress again. I really did. I told myself I was being dramatic. I told myself a grown woman should be able to sleep on a bed she owned. I lay down. The springs pushed back like they were offended by my weight. Within minutes, pain crawled up my spine. My back pulsed. My hips started to sting. ringing. I got up slowly, biting my lip so I wouldn't make a sound, and I went to the couch. I must have dozed off because the next thing I knew, the doorbell was ringing. Not once, not casually, over and over. The sound sliced through the house like a siren. I sat up, heart pounding, disoriented in the dark. For a second, I thought something was wrong with one of the kids. Fire, police, emergency. The doorbell rang again and again. My oldest mumbled from the hallway, half asleep. "Mom, I've got it," I whispered, even though my hands were shaking. I moved to the intercom screen. The porch light showed a figure shifting from foot to foot. It was my boyfriend's cousin's boyfriend, the one who always sprawled on our couch like he paid rent, the one who ate our snacks, used our bathroom, and acted like my home was a free motel. I pressed the button. "What do you want?" His voice was breathless. I had a panic thing. "I need to come in." I stared at the screen. "It's the middle of the night. I called your boyfriend," he said quickly. He didn't answer. My throat went dry. "Then go home." He leaned closer to the camera, like proximity could force me to say yes. "Please, I can't be alone." A flash of guilt tried to rise in me. I wasn't heartless. Panic attacks are real. Fear is real. But so were boundaries. So was my home. So was the fact that my kids were sleeping behind me. I inhaled, steadying myself. "Text your girlfriend. She can decide. Don't ring my doorbell like that again." I ended the call and stood there listening to my own breathing. My phone buzzed immediately. A text from my boyfriend. "Why are you being like this?" He's upset. "Let him in." Not, "Are you okay?" Not, "Did the doorbell scare you?" Not, "Did the kids wake up?" Just, "Let him in." My fingers hovered over the screen. Then another message popped up. This one from an unknown number. A single sentence. "You deserve better than being the help." My skin went cold. I stared at it, my mind flipping through possibilities like a deck of cards. Wrong number. Spam. A prank. But the timing was too perfect. And the words sounded like someone who had been watching my life from the inside. I didn't reply. I turned my phone face down and walked back to the couch, my back aching, my heart beating too fast. In the dark, I realized something that made me almost laugh. Everyone around me had gotten very comfortable demanding things from me. Dinner, money, babysitting, emotional labor, a move to a farm, a house that looked good in photos, a supportive girlfriend who kept her mouth shut. They thought I'd keep absorbing it quietly because I always had. But that unknown text felt like a match struck in a closed room. And by morning, I wasn't just in pain. I was awake, fully awake, because somewhere, maybe in my boyfriend's phone, maybe in his family's group chats, maybe in the way people had started treating me like a resource instead of a person, there was proof of what they were really doing, and I could feel it, like a spring pressing into my spine, like the moment right before something finally snaps. The sun came up mean, like it had plans to expose everything. By the time the kids were eating cereal, my back was stiff enough that standing felt like pushing against wet cement. I moved carefully, slow steps, one hand braced on the counter, while my mind replayed that text from the unknown number. "You deserve better than being the help." It wasn't just creepy, it was accurate. And accuracy is what made it dangerous. My boyfriend came home from his shift smelling like cold air and machine grease. He didn't kiss me. He didn't ask how my back was. He walked straight to the kitchen, opened the fridge, and frowned like a manager inspecting an employee's station. "You didn't let him in," he said. I kept my voice even. He rang the doorbell like someone was dying. Our kids were asleep. He was panicking, and I was terrified. I looked him in the eyes. "Both things can be true," he scoffed, then glanced at his phone like it was calling him back into his real world. My mom already heard about it. Of course she did. Everything traveled through that family faster than light. I exhaled slowly. "We need to talk about Sunday." He started past me toward the bedroom. "What about it?" "Your mom wants a big dinner here." "I can't do that right now." He paused in the hallway, half turned like I'd interrupted a commercial. "It's just cooking." That sentence landed so hard I felt it in my teeth. Just cooking. As if cooking for multiple adults, wrangling 3 kids, cleaning before and after, hosting a room full of people who judged me like sport was nothing. "I'm injured," I said. "I'm barely functioning." He rolled his eyes, and that did it. Not yelling, not anger, just something inside me going very quiet. "I'm not hosting," I repeated. "If your family wants a dinner, you can do it. Or they can do it at their place." He stared like I'd spoken another language. "You're seriously going to embarrass me?" There it was. Not concern, not partnership, reputation. I watched him walk away, and I realized he wasn't asking for dinner. He was asking me to keep playing a role. I waited until he went to shower. Then I picked up his phone. I know what you're thinking. Invasion, trust, lines you shouldn't cross. But trust is a two-way street, and lately I'd been walking mine alone. The phone was unlocked. He never bothered with privacy around me because he assumed I wouldn't look. He assumed I'd stay in my lane. I didn't open his photos. I didn't dig through his entire life. I only checked what his eyes had flicked to, what his thumb had guarded. Messages. There was a thread with his mom, another with his cousin, another with a number saved as a man's name. I didn't recognize someone from work. I opened the one with his mom first, and my stomach dropped. Not because of cheating, because of planning. His mom had been writing like I was a shared resource, like I was a car they all co-owned. "Make sure she does the roast. Your dad hates store-bought. And tell her to keep the kids quiet. We don't need chaos. Also, I talked to your aunt. She said Waverly can design the flyers for the farm. Fundraiser. Free, since she's home anyway." Then a message that made my blood run cold. "If she keeps acting hurt, remind her you work and she doesn't. Don't let her start thinking she's equal in decisions." Equal. My hands went numb around the phone, so it wasn't just my imagination. It wasn't just stress. It wasn't hormones or fatigue or my attitude. They were strategizing how to keep me small. And my boyfriend responded with a thumbs up, a literal thumbs up, like I was a chore request. I scrolled further. His mom again, about the mattress. "Don't waste money on a topper. If she's uncomfortable, she'll learn to stop being picky." My back hurt for years. I didn't complain. My throat tightened so fast it almost hurt. They knew. They knew the bed was hurting me. They knew I was sleeping on the couch. They knew I'd injured myself. And instead of helping, they were using it as training. Like discomfort was a lesson I needed to learn. I closed that thread with shaking fingers and opened the one with his cousin. There were were jokes. Lots of jokes. Bro, she's gonna act injured and then skip dinner. Watch. If she doesn't cook, we should all drop by and see how she handles it. She's not even your wife. Why is she acting like she gets a vote? I swallowed hard. Then I saw the message that connected to the unknown text I'd gotten. His cousin had sent my boyfriend a screenshot of a number. This is the number I told you about. If she starts refusing stuff, send her the line. It shuts her up. You deserve better than being the help. Works every time. My mouth went dry. So the unknown text wasn't a friend. It was a tactic. A manipulation line they used to make women feel dramatic for resisting. Like, oh, you're not the help. You deserve better. Said in a way that sounded supportive, but really meant stop whining and get back in your place. They'd weaponized empathy, and I'd almost fallen for it. I set the phone down like it was covered in oil. The shower turned off. I wiped my hands on my sweatpants, then forced my face into calm. Not fake calm, controlled calm. When he came out, hair wet, towel around his waist, he looked at me like he was waiting for me to apologize. I said, Sunday isn't happening here. His jaw tightened. Are you still on this? I nodded once. Yes. He leaned on the doorframe, annoyed. My mom already told people. That sounds like her problem. He laughed, sharp and disbelieving. You're really going to make me choose between you and my family? There it was, another pressure point. The dramatic ultimatum, like I was the one creating conflict, not them. I'm not making you choose, I said. I'm choosing my health. He stared at me, and I could see the calculation behind his eyes. The part of him that was deciding what would work to push me back into compliance. Then he said it casually, like it was common sense. You don't even work, Waverly. You're home. Just do it. My vision blurred for a second, not from tears, just from pure, hot disbelief. I wanted to scream. I wanted to throw something. I wanted to list every single thing I did from dawn to midnight. But the updated version of me, the one that had woken up, did something else. I smiled. Small, controlled. Okay, I said quietly. You're right. His shoulders eased instantly, like he'd won, like he'd put me back where he liked me. Good, he said. So you'll handle it. I nodded. I'll handle it. And in that moment, my plan formed so cleanly, it felt like it had been waiting for me. Not a loud plan, a quiet one, a proof-based one. Because if they thought I was the help, then I would help. Just not the way they expected. That afternoon, while he slept for his night shift, I made phone calls. First, I called a local furniture place, not to buy a topper, to ask about return policies. Then I called my best friend, someone who'd watched me shrink over the years without saying it out loud. Can you do me a favor Sunday? I asked. Her voice sharpened. What kind of favor? I need you to come over, I said. And I need you to bring someone official. She didn't ask questions. She just said done. Then I opened my laptop and did what I do best. Design. But not flyers for the farm. Not free labor for his family. I designed a simple document. Clean layout. Bold headings. Dates written in words. No drama. Just facts. A schedule. A list of tasks required to host a family dinner for that many people. Shopping, cooking, cleaning, childcare, setup, serving, cleanup. Next to each task, I wrote the time it realistically took based on what I'd been doing for years. Then I wrote names next to each task. Not mine. His mom's, his cousins, his aunt who always sat on my couch and critiqued my parenting, his sister who had opinions but never lifted a finger. I didn't assign them to punish them. I assigned them because they constantly said it was just cooking, so I wanted them to see what just looked like. When my boyfriend woke up that evening, I handed him a printed copy. What's this? He asked, half amused. Our plan for Sunday, I said sweetly. Since it's just cooking. He scanned it and his face changed in slow motion. Confusion, then irritation, then anger. You put my mom on cleanup? He snapped. She loves family gatherings, I said softly. She'll be fine. He threw the paper onto the table. This is petty. No, I replied. This is organized. He stared at me like he didn't recognize me. And that's when I knew it was working. Because the moment a person benefits from your silence, they panic when you start speaking in calm sentences. He opened his mouth, probably to lecture me. But my oldest walked in holding a crayon drawing and said, Mom, can I show Grandma my picture Sunday? I looked at my child, then back at my boyfriend, and I said gently, we'll see. That night, after he left for work, another text came from the unknown number. Don't do something you'll regret. Stay in your lane. I stared at it, then smiled, because now I knew exactly who was holding the leash, and I was about to cut it. Sunday arrived like a test I didn't study for, except I'd been studying them for years. By mid-morning, the house smelled like lemon cleaner and quiet determination. My back still hurt, but it was a steadier pain now. The kind you can work around if your mind is sharp enough. The kids ran in circles, excited because Grandma's coming and I let them be excited. None of this was their fault. My boyfriend came home early from his shift, already tense. He kept glancing at the printed task sheet I'd taped to the fridge like it was an insult. You really think my mom is gonna follow this? He muttered. I think your mom loves telling people what to do, I said, calm as water. So today she gets to do it. For real. He huffed, grabbed a pan like he was doing me a favor, and started banging around the kitchen. The noise was meant to punish me. It used to work. Now it just sounded like a toddler tantrum in a grown man's body. Right before noon, my phone buzzed again. Unknown number. If you embarrass him, you're done. There it was. Not be careful. Not think it through. Just a threat dressed up like advice. I didn't reply. I didn't block it either. I saved it. Because proof is quieter than screaming, and it lasts longer. The doorbell rang. Once, politely, like a normal person. His mother walked in first, wearing her company smile. Arms full of a casserole. Dish like she was the hero of a story she'd already told everyone. Behind her came his dad, his cousin, his aunt, and his sister. A small parade of people who loved my home when it served them. Waverly! His mom sang out, overly bright. There's my girl. How's that back? Still sore? The way she said it, sweet but sharp underneath, made my skin crawl, like she wanted to see if I'd perform pain for her. I gave her a small smile. It's better. Thanks for asking. Then I stepped aside and gestured toward the fridge. Her eyes followed my hand. She saw the sheet. Big clean letters at the top. Family dinner task plan. Her smile froze. What is that? Just the plan, I said gently. So everything runs smoothly. My My boyfriend shifted behind her, suddenly interested in the floor. His mom took a step closer and scanned the list. Her lips parted like she was about to laugh it off because that's what she did when she wanted to make something seem ridiculous. Then she reached the part where her name appeared multiple times. Set up, serving, clean up. Her face tightened. You put me on dishes? She asked, voice still sweet but cracking at the edges. You said you did everything with back pain. I replied, soft. I figured you'd understand how to pace yourself. My aunt, his aunt, let out a small laugh, the kind that's half shock, half entertainment. His sister frowned. This is weird. Why are we on a schedule? So I don't end up doing it all, I said, still calm. Because I can't. His mom's eyes flashed. Waverly, it's one dinner. I tilted my head. Then it should be easy to share. Silence. The room shifted, like everyone suddenly realized I wasn't going to scramble to make it comfortable for them anymore. His cousin scoffed. Come on, you're home all day. This is your thing. That word, thing, like my labor was a hobby. I looked at him, not angry, just steady. Then you won't mind doing it today. He opened his mouth, but his mom cut in quickly, trying to regain control. Let's not make a scene, she said, glancing around like she was worried the walls might repeat this later. I almost laughed. They only cared about scenes when the scene wasn't serving them. I turned toward the living room. Kids, go show Grandpa your drawings. The kids ran off, and the adults followed slowly, like they were being guided into a trap they couldn't see yet, because the trap wasn't yelling. The trap was letting them experience the life they'd been assigning to me. Lunch prep started. I moved carefully, doing only what my body could handle. My boyfriend cooked, grumbling. His mom stood at the counter, supervising, trying to give instructions while keeping her hands clean. Don't cut it like that, she said to him. You're doing it wrong. He snapped back. Then do it yourself. She blinked, offended. Excuse me? I watched their faces in that moment, the shock of being spoken to the way they spoke to me. His mom turned toward me. Waverly, say something. I wiped my hands on a towel. I'm just letting you two communicate. Her nostrils flared. My cousin-in-law wandered into the kitchen and opened my pantry without asking. Where's the good snacks? She demanded. I pointed to the task sheet. Snacks are on you. It says right there. She stared like she didn't know how to read. His sister sat on my couch and scrolled her phone, commenting on how messy kids are, even though she hadn't held a single toy all day. And with every minute, a tiny reward came, because the truth was surfacing without me having to dig. At one point, his aunt sighed loudly and said, I don't know how you do this every day. I looked at her. You mean parent or host? She didn't answer. She just looked down. That was reward number 1, acknowledgement, even if it was uncomfortable. Then came reward number 2. His mom pulled my boyfriend aside into the hallway. I wasn't eavesdropping. Their voices carried because they weren't used to living with consequences. She's acting different, his mom hissed. Did you let her get ideas? I don't know what her problem is, he muttered. She's been like this since the couch thing. His mom's voice dropped even lower. You need to remind her who pays the bills. My grip tightened on the dish towel so hard my fingers hurt. Then my phone buzzed again. Unknown number? Check his messages. He's going to leave you. I stared at that line. It wasn't concern. It was bait. They wanted me frantic. They wanted me chasing him. They wanted me proving I was desperate so they could label me unstable. Instead, I walked calmly to the kitchen counter, picked up my boyfriend's phone right in front of everyone, and held it up. His mother's eyes went wide. My boyfriend froze like he'd been caught stealing. I said clearly, I'm tired of this. Whoever has been texting me from an unknown number, stop. His cousin coughed, suddenly fascinated by his drink. His mom blinked. What are you talking about? I didn't accuse. I didn't guess. I opened my own phone and with slow movements showed the screen. Saved messages, screenshots, timestamps and words, threats, manipulation, that you deserve better than being the help line, the stay in your lane line, the if you embarrass him, you're done line. Then I lifted my eyes to the whole room. I'm not scared of this, I said, but I'm done being managed. The air in the living room went thick, like nobody knew what to do with a woman who wasn't screaming. His mom's mouth opened, then closed. She looked around, searching for an ally. His sister said quickly, this is dramatic. I nodded once. Then it should be easy to stop. My boyfriend finally found his voice, angry and panicked. Why are you doing this right now? In front of everyone? I held my gaze steady. Because you all planned in front of everyone. You just didn't realize I'd see it. He took a step toward me, lower voice. Give me my phone. I didn't move. Not until you answer one thing. His face twitched. What? I looked at him like he was a stranger. Do you believe I'm equal in decisions? Silence fell so hard I could hear my toddler laughing down the hall. His mom's eyes darted between us like she was watching a fight she thought her son would win. And my boyfriend, my longtime boyfriend, didn't say yes. He didn't say no. He hesitated. That hesitation was the biggest confession in the room. I nodded slowly, like I'd just confirmed a suspicion I'd carried for years. Okay, I said softly. Then this is how it's going to be. I walked to the fridge, peeled off the task sheet, and handed it to his mother. Dinner is canceled, I said. You can take your casserole, you can take your opinions, and you can take your little threats. His mom sputtered. Waverly. I held up one finger, calm, firm. No, I'm not yelling. I'm not arguing. I'm just ending the access. Then I turned to my boyfriend. Your key to this house? It's on the table. His head snapped up. What? I nodded toward the entryway. I already called the landlord last week. The lease is in my name. You're not on it. His face drained of color. You can't do that. I already did, I said quietly. His cousin muttered, she wouldn't? I looked at him. I did. And then, because reputation is a front too, I reached for the printed folder I'd prepared and handed it to my boyfriend's dad. Inside were the screenshots of the texts, the group chat messages about me hosting since I'm home anyway, and the line about not letting me think I'm equal. No insults, no commentary, just their words. His dad's hands trembled slightly as he read. He didn't look at me. He looked at his wife. His mother's face twisted, and for the first time, her company smile vanished completely. She hissed. You went through private messages? I tilted my head. You used private messages to coordinate how to control me. Silence. My best friend arrived right then, stepping into the doorway like timing itself was on my side. Next to her was a woman holding a small notepad and wearing a calm, professional expression, someone official like my friend promised. A mediator from a local family services resource center. Not police, not drama, just documentation, safety planning, and a witness. My boyfriend's eyes went wild. Are you serious? I nodded. Very, because this wasn't revenge like a movie. This was revenge like a life raft. My friend stood beside me. Hey, she said softly. You ready? I took a breath. My back hurt. My hands shook, but my voice stayed steady. Yes, I said. My boyfriend's mom tried to step toward me, but the mediator calmly lifted her hand. Ma'am, please give her space. His mom looked like she'd been slapped without being touched. And that was the payoff. Not a scream, not a slap, not a fight. Just a woman in my living room telling his mother what I'd never been allowed to say. Give her space. His family left in pieces. First the cousin, then the sister, then the aunt, all muttering about disrespect. And drama because they needed a story where they weren't the villains. His dad lingered at the door, eyes tired. He looked at me once and said very quietly, I didn't know. I believed him. And that made me sad. But sadness didn't change my decision. My boyfriend stood in the hallway like he'd lost the ground under his feet. Where am I supposed to go? I shrugged gently. Somewhere you can be the main character. He flinched like that hurt more than any insult. Then I picked up my phone, opened the unknown number thread, and sent one single message. Access denied. And the last thing I said, soft enough that only he heard. It was the sentence that finally turned all their pressure into dust. I'm not the help, and you don't get to rent my life for free.